Hey MD, Steve Kuclo back here for day 2, legs today, and with my training partner Jeff Dwelle. Got a pretty intense, pretty exhausting workout in. Here it is February, about 80 degrees outside, and not quite used to it yet, and so dealing with a little heat and humidity and sweating more than we're used to. So things have been kind of progressing in my training. A lot of people ask me as far as my legs, what I do for my training, if it's consistent, or I do the same thing all the time, but I constantly change it up. I would say I change it up pretty much every workout. There's a few basics that I do every workout. I do leg extensions, leg curls, maybe some kind of leg press, but always kind of switch it up, whether it be the reps, some drop sets, just tweaking things with my feet position, just little things like that, just to keep just to hit as much of the quads and hamstrings, just different parts of the leg as much as possible. I also alternate between like real heavy days and kind of a little bit lighter days. I never really have like a super really light day, but I would say squatting 315 compared to 500 pounds is a little bit lighter day, I guess. So like today, my heavy thing I did was we did some leg press. We went pretty heavy on that, But there's a few videos you see on YouTube. Robbie and I were talking that, I'm squatting about 5 or 6 plates. And every so often I do like to throw some weight on there and just really shock my body. It's not something I do all the time, but I really like to, every so often, just get something my muscles aren't really used to. And it kind of shocks them. And I've always felt that kind of makes me stronger in a lot of other movements that I do for a body part, particularly legs. Legs is one body part I tell people all the time that, you can't bench press, for 20 reps, 400 pounds, for all these sets and do the amount of volume you can actually do for your legs. You think about it, your legs really can handle the beating. So the big thing I like to do is just throw a ton of volume at them and a ton of blood and make them grow. So Jeff kind of talked about his philosophy on what he likes to do. We do train together, so a lot of things we do similar, but, he likes to do a few little things differently.
Hey MD, leg day for me, 5 weeks out, a lot about survival, especially training with Steve, who's pretty strong. My legs are a blessing and a curse. My legs grow, my upper legs grow from basically anything. I like to mix it up. I get a good pump in my legs. The downside for me is I hold a lot of body fat in my legs, so at this point, for me, it's just about stimulating and pumping, stretching, squeezing, just getting movement, and then taking care of my diet and taking care of my cardio and posing and doing a lot of squeezing and trying to move water out of my legs. And I do like volume training. I was a free squatter for a long time, many years, and I find now that mixing it up and pump training seems to continue to make my legs grow. And so at this point in my training career, in that my legs are kind of a dominant body part, I'm really just looking to refine my legs and kind of keep them in place and try to bring the other things up around them. And I've been fortunate that my legs have always been a plus when I get them in shape, and then when I don't, it can be a real negative for me as it causes sort of an imbalance in my body. And so right now, really, I just try to keep my head down and go through the things that I can handle and train smart and try not to hurt myself and stay focused and train so I can handle another day.
Since starting to work with Hany, doing some FST7 stuff, and he really adjusted my rep range a little bit, from going a little bit lower rep to doing more higher rep stuff. Kind of 12 to 15 is what I've been doing. That really brings more blood in the muscle, and what that does, for me, I think it really initiates a lot of growth, and the more blood I get in there, I've always felt my legs respond better. Than going real heavy. I kind of look at, power lifters, not to knock them on the crazy stuff they do, but they don't have necessarily the biggest legs because, 1-2 reps is not necessarily going to stimulate a lot of growth in the muscle. But for me, just the more volume, like Jeff was saying. So one thing I really wanted to do is I've been focusing on probably last year or two, really trying to bring up my outer quad. And a lot of little things that I do makes a difference. First, like starting with leg extensions that we did. I like to have my toes pointed slightly inward, and that gets just a little bit of the outer quad more. If you're just talking about a percentage, but that percentage could add up over time. Just little things. Say for like leg press, sometimes I like to push with the outside of my foot. as compared to like my heel or my toes, and that again triggers a little bit more in my outer quad, I feel, when I do it. And then today we did some front squats. I'm just starting to do front squats. Hany wanted me to start doing some front squats compared to back squats because he's like, your ass is big enough, so focus on those quads. So I started doing some front squats and kind of getting back in the rhythm of doing those. And I like starting, like Smith machine stuff. It keeps me in line, takes my back out of it, and I feel you can get just as good as growth out of Smith machine stuff. I like squat type movements as compared to free squats. Some will argue that, but I've always had good success with Smith machine stuff. So I'm not knocking it at all. And then doing a vertical leg press, finished up the workout again with the FST7 stuff. Big thing I like to do is kind of almost use it. It's kind of hard to explain without really doing it for yourself. But I used a lot of my toes, put the weight on my toes, and it almost makes it like a sissy hack squat type of feel, where you just all your lower quad and again trying to push with the outside of my foot a little bit too to work my outer. All that really kind of tie all my legs together, and I think my legs have really come together over the past few years and becoming one of my more predominant body parts. And all that, I think I always, when I trained with Justin Harris back when I first started working out, he always said, two things that always wins, the Mr. Olympia or the best in show is, best back and best legs. So those are two things I really want to work on, having stand out, body parts. And, your legs can really never be too big. I think Jeff's one of those testaments. I mean, he could kind of look at a squat or leg press and his quads grow. So, training with somebody that's got a lot of years and training in legs and knows what to work and how they work. So, I pick up knowledge from everybody I work out with, train with, whether my nutritionist and stuff. So everybody, really takes a part, and I pick up everything. Bodybuilding is a constant learning process. So I tell everybody, it's just the more knowledge the better you'll be. So just learn, read stuff in MD, read stuff in the magazine, and you could take your body next level just by learning some stuff. So that's a big thing.
Sure. Yeah, in terms of training and dieting competitors, guys especially who struggle keeping size in their legs during the preparation period, which is really typical for a lot of guys as you go through your prep and you start to lose glycogen, and typically if it's a body part that hasn't been trained for a long time or you haven't built a lot of mass, you'll lose some size through cardio and through losing the weight and restricting your calories. And what I find, and sort of as a follow-up to what Steve and I are talking about, is I think blood volume throughout the week in terms of training helps to keep muscle full, and it keeps glycogen in the muscle. So typically I'll have people do a normal leg day in which their training is consistent with what works for them, and then maybe 3 or 4 days later, then they go do some pump training or do some volume training or extensions and curls and light squatting and light pressing, so you continue to get volume in your legs. And if it's somebody who's ectomorphic or ectomeso and they lose body fat quickly, if they get in shape quickly, then modify their cardio routine, and they're not doing a lot of heavy stepping on the step mill, or they're not doing a lot of high intensity cardio. They're doing really moderate or light cardio, and then adjusting their conditioning by using their diet, as opposed to so much effort by burning up that muscle by working through it on cardio. And so I think the thing that's important for any body part, if you have a volume issue or you have a genetic issue, is that you keep blood volume in that body part and you kind of keep it moving and you try to hold on to the end. And if that is that you have to support the body part training with some carbs the day before or some carbs the day after, or you arrange some macronutrients so that you have some more energy to train those body parts, and then you pull down on the body parts that are good, that also can make a lot of sense.
Jeff talked about different body types, and me personally, I've legs is one thing that stays pretty lean for me year round. I guess kind of a genetic gift for me, and I'll put body fat onto my stomach or area pretty quick. But as far as my glutes and hamstring and quads stay pretty dry year round, which I'll take as a blessing, because if it doesn't, it's a lot harder to get them into shape. And and for me. And for Jeff especially, he trains quads, as hard as anybody. But I think, doing a lot of cardio when you're pre-contest will, people get a mistake sometimes that they think they got big legs, or, if you got a lot of fat in there, sometimes and if you really get into shape, you'll lose a little bit if you really haven't trained legs real hard. So I think a big thing is having the mass in your legs to from the start, and then just bring them down. Let the cardio and let your diet work with you. For my leg training, I really like to. Ideally, if I have the time in the day, I'll do usually quads in the morning, hamstrings in the afternoon. My hardest body part I like to do in the morning, and then later on in the day I'll do some hamstrings or vice versa. It just depends on my time. Like tonight we did them together, and if I have the time, if I feel good, I'll knock it all out in one, just so I have the rest of the day to relax, eat, just kind of recoup a little bit, because legs and one body part, that I usually, if I'm gonna have a high calorie day, I put it all into that. But mainly, ideally, I like to kind of do it all in one day, but split it up if I can. Some guys like to split it up into separate days, but and if there's a day, where I say I have a lighter day, that I do arms or something, I'll maybe do some hamstrings just to add, just to work on them a little bit. Or I'll do my calves too, probably twice a week. People always ask me, how much are your calves? I'll get them in there, about at least twice a week, and kind of do some high volume sets there too.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit on the opposite end of the spectrum in that training twice a day for me is a little bit more difficult, in that my recovery isn't as strong, and I'm not quite as gifted as retaining muscle as someone like Steve does. So my experience has been just all the way in when I have the opportunity, when my energy is high, and then start the recovery period. And when I train legs, it can be 3, 4, 5 days a week, such that I'm really sore, and I have a lot of balance, fortunately, in the front and the back of my legs, so that I've never really had to step back and emphasize one over the other. I'm fortunate that I grow pretty evenly, and I found for myself that I'm nervous enough training them once a week and trashing them versus having to get up for it 2 times a week.
All right, guys, finish up for the day. I want to thank everybody at MD, Steve, Robbie coming all the way out from New York to come down to Texas with some warm weather and enjoy it a little bit. But, he puts in hard work too, so I definitely appreciate everything he does. So looking forward to the upcoming months between starting my diet. Don't have an exact date yet, but, Hany and I will start brainstorming that. Going to continue my off-season training now, really picking up pretty much full speed from here on out, and then get right into prep. So I'm feeling really good. Looking forward to the USAs this year, July. And I'm gunning for it. And then as that comes, we'll take it one day at a time and see what happens after that. Again, check me out on the Q&A for Steve Kuclo on the MD forum. You got any questions or any whatever. I definitely like helping guys out that really into the sport, understanding bodybuilding, just tips, whatever I can do to kind of help you out a little bit. I was in that same position years ago, just starting up, or just questions, just constantly learning. So, and again, my DVD's coming out in a few weeks, so check me out on Facebook, or stevekuclo.net should be up soon with all the DVD purchasing info and stuff. So pass it off to Jeff to finish this up.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to MD for including me, and Robbie for spending the time with us. It's been a really awesome experience for me, and on a personal level, I'm excited to get back on stage and get in queued, and then head back to national level, and on the other side, bring clients to shows this year. I'm going to be at all the shows, so come and check me out, and I'm excited for 2011, and then I'm really excited to be training with Steve. It's been really fun, and he's an inspiration and a super talent, a good guy, and a good friend, and I'm excited to share his experience with him on his road to the USA, and I'll see you guys out there. Thanks.